All right, welcome everybody. My name is Scott Holohan, and I've got the pleasure to have Cheryl Roush and David Hill on. I'm just going to go over some of the meeting logistics here real quick. Just make sure that you have your phones on mute. We will mute everybody just in case, but we will have opportunities to ask questions. If you are on the web version, you can write your question in the chat box. That is definitely preferred, and we'll get to those questions at the appropriate time. If you have only access to the phone or the audio, if you're on your phone, we'll leave some time at the end to ask your question, and then Cheryl can provide the answers at the end. We will record this, as I'm just doing now, so that we can make it available to other people who want to view the valuable information that we're going to hear tonight. So again, just make sure that you're on mute if you do come in, but I will have the opportunity to mute you if you're being too loud. Anyways, I'm going to hand it over to David, and we'll go over the information about Cheryl. Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to this special District 40 webinar on the Accredited Speaker Designation. I will reiterate one more time. Please mute your phone or device, even though I know that Scott has already done that. The Toastmasters International Accredited Speaker Program is designed for sought-after professionals who combine their subject matter expertise and platform presentation mastery. Honored for professionalism and outstanding achievements in public speaking, only 87 have earned the Accredited Speaker designation since the program began in 1981. Although every candidate can pass, less than 1% of the applicants have received the credential. Programs like this webinar educate us in the process and helps members like you pass the first time. In this webinar, you will understand the program rules, view the judges' guides and ballots, discover insights and suggestions to pass the first time, and learn how to receive mentoring and support. You may have seen our guests present educational sessions on the stage at the International Convention, including in Washington, D.C. and Vancouver, British Columbia. Cheryl Roush is a lead ambassador of the Accredited Speaker Program, mentoring candidates and coordinating with World Headquarters, ensuring the integrity of the process as the speaking industry continues to evolve globally. In 1993, she was the youngest female, and I want to repeat that. In 1993, she was the youngest female to earn the elite designation and the 28th overall, the 28th out of 87. For her contributions globally to communication and leadership, she was presented the Presidential Citation in 2009. A professional speaker for 30 years, she has presented well over 3,500 programs in 13 countries. President and CEO of Sparkle Presentations Incorporated. She is a confident keynote presenter and top-rated international trainer. With this insightful session on how to earn Toastmasters Accredited Speakers designation, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, past district governor, accredited speaker, Cheryl Roush.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And David, thank you. I'm thrilled that we got to meet at the Starbucks corner at the Denver International Convention. And, and it was interesting just how the trio from District 40 was right there. And all of a sudden you asked something, an accredited speaker, and it's like, well, we can do a webinar for your district. So here we are. And thank you very much for having that vision. And it's my honor to be of support and service to our fellow members tonight. So thank you. I'm going to be offering resources. You're welcome throughout this very precious hour that we have together. There are two official websites We have Toastmasters.org, where you go and you can do a search in the search parameter box for accredited speaker. And we also have Sanctioned by World Headquarters, our own accreditedspeakers.com website, that those of us who have earned the designation contribute to keep that website going. And I'm going to show you a little bit later why you would want to go to that particular page in addition to all the articles and references, because that's where you can find any of us available for free mentoring toward the Accredited Speaker Program. In August of 2018, in the Chicago Convention, these are our newly minted accredited speakers. And I got to tell you, because right away, let me share with you that every speaker has their own topic. They have found their lane. They know what they talk about. These are professional presenters. So Valda Ford on the far left is a health educator. Terry Watson, customer service expert and motivational speaker extraordinaire. Greg Wood, right underneath the Toastmaster logo, is a magician, and his main presentations are about the magic of leadership. Then you have Tamara Hamilton, who is an expert in inclusion and diversity, yet with a spin on bringing people together for what she calls peace talks. Maurice Domino, and by the way, Tamara has worked in the White House, by the way. So Maurice Domino came from the professional training industry. He's also known as a Sicilian mentor. So he found his brand, he found his niche, and all thanks to Toastmasters. And right now he's a club president. So even though he's an accredited speaker, you can still continue your club leadership program. Ed Eddinghauser on the far right is a Guinness World Record marathon expert, and you'll see him in marathons with a jester's hat. So I point this out to you because these are real people. These are members like you and I who have gone through the two-level process that I'll be walking you through tonight. Each of them would be happy to share their stories with you. Last night, we had a special webinar with 5 of us accredited speakers, including Greg Wood there, for District 99 GoPro speakers, where the 5 of us, it was a 2-hour, we took over their club meeting, and we zoomed in and we shared our stories and the insights. So David, anytime that you want to get a hold of any of the accredited speakers and have them talk about their expertise or about their journey, we are available to do that for you. So bring us to your district conferences and online meetings such as today. So this year, let me give you some numbers, because again, as David read in the introduction, every candidate can pass, yet it's baffling why only 1% do. So here's some numbers for those of you who want to know what the bottom line is. In 2019, there were 19 applicants who submitted their application. So again, on the handout that you have for tonight, then you want to download all of the information. So on the handout, right up there, it says download all information from that. There are PDFs for you to download. So these applicants, and even more, actually did all the downloads, but 19 applied. There were 7 disqualifications immediately. And what we've been able to figure out for what happened is that they didn't follow the rules. There is a handout called The Program Rules, and there's a couple of very critical factors that need to be abided by. So for instance, maybe they didn't have the 5 letters of recommendation that are required. Maybe they were shy 1. Maybe their video went a few minutes longer than what the rules are. So you know TI, just like with speech contests, that you have a little bit of a grace period, but that's it. It's the same thing with the accredited speaker application, because this is not for a contest. This is for a credential. This is a professional designation that for those earning it, it could make or break your career. And those of us who have earned it, as we were chatting about again last night, is what it's really done for our businesses. And for me, it gives me greater exposure, greater credibility with wider audiences, and I increased my fee. So if that's of interest to you, stay tuned. From those 19 minus the 7 disqualifications, 12 continued to level 1 judging. It is a 2-level judging process. Based on that, at level 1, your presentation in 2019 could have been as long as 45 minutes of a video. You have 12 of those. Then TI created 2 judging teams of qualified judges, which would include accredited speakers, professional speakers, people who would be qualified or who could be eligible for going for this designation. So from that, 4 passed. It went from 19 to 4 applied that passed level 1 judging. So what happens with that? They go forward on to the next level. There were 7 candidates in Denver, and if you were there, you saw that there were 2 concurrent breakout sessions for the 7 candidates, and there were actually 6. So here's what happened. One of our candidates from the Kingdom of Bahrain did not have his visa approved to come into the US. So we had 6 candidates at Denver. That 7th candidate, it will become what's called a holdover, and that he can present his live presentation in parler français. So he is going to speak in France. So of those 7 candidates, then the 6, 3 continued to level 2. There was 1 holdover from 2017. And here's what happened with that. We had 1 candidate for accredited speaker who was also simultaneously competing, made it to the semifinals at the international convention. But since the debriefing, the judging, and sometimes the programs overlap, as far as the timing at the international convention, TI requested him to decide one or the other of the programs. He decided to compete, go ahead, and he did his best. He absolutely did fantastic. Did not get to the world stage. However, he did earn his accredited speaker this year. So he held over from Chicago to present in Denver. Then there were 3 returning candidates. So those from Chicago 2 years ago who did not pass at level 2 then had an opportunity to return again for another shot at it. You actually get 3 attempts before you need to completely reapply again. All 3 of those returning candidates on their 2nd attempt passed. And I can share with you what they shared with me is why they don't think that they passed last year is because they didn't bring their A game. They didn't do what it is that they do, that they get paid to speak. They did something different. Each of those 3 made a commitment last year to return again this year and to do exactly what it is that they do, that they get paid to do, that the judges could see that. So here they are from 2019 in August in Denver, home of world headquarters. There's Paul Artali on the far left, and he was the one who competed last year and then qualified this year for the accredited speaker. Yelena is out of Seattle area. She didn't pass last year. This year she had encouragement since she is a Steinway Grand artist, a concert pianist. So she does inspirational concerts, mixing, this is brilliant, mixing her inspirational message with playing of the keyboard. And this time she opened up with Chopin and she ended with George Gershwin. It received a standing ovation. Greg Van Borsum in the middle was one of the 2nd attempt candidates from last year. His expertise is mental health and suicide prevention. And he shares his gut-wrenching story. Absolutely amazing. But last year, what happened, right as he was getting ready to hop on the plane from Australia, one of his good mates took his own life. Greg came here, pretty much an emotional mess. He did he gave it his best shot, and if you didn't know what was going on, you would not have guessed. He is truly a professional on all levels, and you know, you step up, you just do what you need to do. So this year, Greg spoke about suicide. He did what it is that he does. Again, another standing ovation. Tom Island is the very first accredited speaker in the world with autism, and he shared and educated all of us on that topic. And next to Tom is Sima, who again returned, and she did activities. She showed us what she actually does regarding communication and social media, and she's brilliant at what she does. Michael Bayer on the far right is an expert with lean, as far as he has a niche with hospital care administrators for 25 beds or less. Each of these is an expert in their field. So when Toastmasters International says that it is a subject matter expert with platform professional speaking skills, that's exactly what all of this means. So those are our newly minted accredited speakers. So how can you become an accredited speaker? This is the website. Go to toastmasters.org/membership/accredited-speaker. And there's great information. All of this has been recently updated, so who can apply, and you can review the program rules. I'm going to hit the highlights for you there tonight. And then there's also a section on who can apply, how are the candidates evaluated. So notice that they're not contestants. We refer to those going through the process as candidates. And there's 2 levels to the application process. On the far right, then here's how to apply. I have put that image into your handout for tonight. And then in the column to its right, I'm giving you application notes and updates from what board policy passed just in August and how the program is changing a little bit and continuing to evolve. So you can look at this, and please do go into this website area and download each of, see where the blue highlights are, download each of the PDF handouts there, because it's going to be vital information for you. And that is what our accredited speaker badge looks like. We wear them proudly over our hearts. And then to become an accredited speaker, more information, and to find us as an accredited speaker, because we are available for paid speaking engagements, events outside of Toastmaster related. And we are also available for your district TLIs, your Toastmaster Leadership Institutes, your leadership development trainings, and your conferences. So please invite us. We bring Toastmaster topics as well as our professional topics, and there's no charge for accredited speakers to speak at your events. We do not charge. You cover our accommodations and our travel, but that's it. There's no pay. So on the first page of the handout then that I provided for you, on the bottom right-hand corner are our social media. So we're out there. You can find us, and we invite you to join the conversation. Go to accreditedspeakers.com. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, on Facebook, as well as we have our online groups. And my contact information is there too. Feel free to reach out to me. If you do email me, please, in the subject line, put accredited speaker so I know what it's regarding. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And if you ask me a question that I don't know, I know. And here's a copy of that handout. And I'm going to be addressing several things in this. And for mentoring, you're going to want to look at the information in the bottom left-hand corner of this handout regarding getting mentoring, and then the 4 bottom line questions regarding judging. So I'll circle back to each of these throughout our program here. Let's start with the rules. And we've got to follow the rules. So who is eligible? Definitely a current member, dues paid. And look at the following education awards, because there's been a change to that for the policy that I'll show you that in just a second. So in the legacy program of our education would be Able Toastmaster, Advanced Toastmaster Bronze, Advanced Communicator Bronze, or completion of all levels of a single path. And that's the new policy, by the way, is a single and all path. Notice that it does not say Distinguished Toastmaster. That you do not need to be a DTM in order to apply for accredited speaker. I've been a member now for 33 years, and Distinguished Toastmaster has always been established as the highest designation for leadership, not necessarily speaking. And keep in mind, again, this is a professional speaking designation. And a minimum of 25 speaking engagements over the course of 3 years to non-Toastmaster audiences. That's absolutely critical. And you'll also note that international officers or those who are applying are not eligible to participate in the program at the same time. You are elected or have volunteered to serve in leadership, and you put your accredited speaker designation on hold, and there's good reason for that. So how the program works, based on that, you meet those requirements. So right there, if you're thinking, oh, 25 speaking engagements outside of Toastmasters over 3 years, no, I haven't done it, or no, I couldn't do it, then there's your answer right now, that this program might not yet be for you. However, what if you were to set your goal that it is? So whether you pursue the accreditation or you use it as a model for becoming a professional speaker, a paid presenter, from a magician to a musician to a minister, we're across the board. Then if this is your goal, then use these for the guidelines as you go forward. And here we have, the deadline is absolutely critical. So it's coming up in this application cycle, which means that between January 1st and February 1st, everything needs to go into the accredited speaker department, at our New World headquarters. That means you have the application completely filled out. Of those people who disqualify, chances are there was something incomplete on the application. There's a fee for it too, which are nominal fees, administrative fees that must be paid in US dollars, which World Headquarters would be happy to accept your credit card information. When you have everything else in there, then you can have a quick phone call with them and have a secure transaction. The video, I'm going to come back to that because that's probably the most critical area of the entire application. And the recommendation forms, you will need 5 of those. By the way, you'll need 5 of those. And this is one of the PDFs that can be filled in by the meeting planner, and it must go directly from the meeting planner, the person who booked you for that speaking engagement, directly to World Headquarters staff, and all of the instructions are right there for it. So deadline, absolutely critical. So here's what's changed for the application cycle that we're entering now regarding your educational. So the bold part down here at the bottom is a completion of all levels in a single path inside of Pathways. So again, if you're a speaker, you need to be speaking, you need to be earning your designations and completing your projects. And you want to take your speaking outside of Toastmasters. And that's what this honors, is professional presentations above and beyond and outside of our organization. Following again with the program rules, how the program works. There's level 1 and level 2. At level 1, there's a core of judges, 5 judges, and you must have a majority of the judges agree. Your goal is 5 out of the 5 judges. That's your goal, is a unanimous ballot, that there was no question in the judges' minds that yes, you deserve this credential. So applications are reviewed, first of all, before level 1, World Headquarters staff, and that's what the administrative cost also supports, is that it's their time to ensure that all the applications are reviewed for completeness, that everything fits, and that the videos are within the parameters. And I'll make a point now as well as later that your video, 45 minutes in length, so 20 to 45 minutes, and there's also a policy change on that, which is a good change, that between 20 to 45 minutes, that it does not include your speaker introduction before you take the stage. Your presentation must be whole and complete, no edits. So with your, let's say, 60-second up to 75-second speaker introduction, your time starts with you, kind of like the first utterance of the first word or the first gesture of your presentation. Kind of sound familiar there? From the beginning of your presentation all the way through its formal closing, where the meeting planner comes up and shakes your hand, where there's complete closure on it. All of that needs to be succinct. Then level 2, based on that 4 out of the 5 judges at level 1 have passed you, and everything in both levels are pass or fail. That's it. Pass or fail. You do or you don't. When you pass at level 1, you go on to level 2. This is for your live presentation, which will be a much shorter presentation at the International Convention. And that, for the past 2 or 3 years, has been an 18 to 20 minute presentation. So now you're taking what you might have done for a 45 or 60 minute presentation, and you are abbreviating it down, editing it so it's still whole and complete and makes sense to the judges. And that's what you present at level 2. The judges are seated in the audience, same thing, you know, that they're anonymous, and same thing that the majority of the judges must again give you a pass. Based on that, then you earn the designation. So it's two levels, judging by qualified judges at each. So how you apply with this, and let me make a point here that, okay, so this is modified. The presentation's minimum of 20 minutes in length, and now they can be 60 minutes, and I'll have a slide on that. 15 of the 25 must be paid engagements. And the tip here, even though there is no $ US dollars of what is considered a speaking fee, true professional speakers have a comma in their fee for a 60-minute keynote. Okay, so keep breathing, take a breath. Again, if you're not eligible, then it could be that this is what you use for your journey to proceed toward it. 25 speeches a professional speaker, like I will hit 75 presentations a year. So in 1 year. So think about, again, this is for professional caliber. So what happens if you don't have a comma in your fee yet? Then you want to aim for that. You want to hit, for now, high 3 numbers. The judges look at everything on your application form. They're looking for, are you truly a professional speaker? And there are some, again, because 15 of the 25 must be paid, the others may not necessarily have been paid, but it could be a pro bono or a showcase, or for your top charity, or that you are on a speaker bureau for a charitable cause. So it could be of that. Also critical is that there's a minimum of 20 people in each audience. They may not be Toastmasters, and the 20 people does not include the person who's videotaping. So, and then the 5 letters of recommendation, each of those from different clients for paid engagements. And that recommendation form must be used. And it's a non-refundable level 1 application fee of $100. So let's look at the application, and there's more things to share with you. In the actual application then, as you download the PDF from the website, and it's several pages long, the first page is applicant information. It gives you where to mail, or most of this is done via email. So it indicates that applications will be submitted to the email, which is accredited@toastmasters.org, or the mailing address to our new address. This is page 2. So I've highlighted, I brought it together for you on one page of more applicant information, what they're looking for. A couple of these are Toastmaster specific, well, or more in general. So what's your educational and professional background? What are special awards and recognition you have received? With the second question here, we encourage you not to use Toastmaster awards recognition. Again, this is a professional credential. What have you done outside of our organization that gives you credibility toward what you're doing and this credential? Then a couple of Toastmaster questions. How has Toastmaster membership benefited you? Which I think is a brilliant question. And bottom line too, why did you decide to pursue the accredited speaker designation? It's not the next box to check on your Toastmasters journey. There's good reasons why you're even watching this webinar. Why did you decide to pursue it? I can tell you that when I applied back in 1992, I know, a long time ago, remember I'm, number 28 out of the 87 here today. When I applied, I went to the international convention and I picked up a brochure, and I remember on the front cover, it had a big question and it said, are you good enough to be pro? And I thought, I don't know. I'd like to think I am. And I read everything inside of the booklet, and I thought, wow, I'm going to go for it. Now, some people do not pass every time, the very first time that they go through it. I did. And I can share with you that some of my success for doing that was, when you work Toastmasters program, this program works. I had 10 competent Toastmasters, so what would be CCs, and I've since then completed a CC, a competent communicator myself. I also did 15 of the advanced educational accomplishments. So 15 ATMs, bronze, silver, gold, 15 of those. And then I also did 1 distinguished Toastmaster. But if you want to be a speaker, then you need to speak. I did all of the success leadership programs multiple times. Those are ready-made seminars to give. If you've not created your own curriculum, then you need to be doing the success leadership programs and Speechcraft, by the way. You need to be doing the Speechcraft and youth leadership. So why did you pursue it? For me, I wanted to see if, yes, I was truly good enough to do it. And it pushed me. And everyone who's gone for this designation will tell you it pushes you because the bar is high. The next page inside the application refers to the area of expertise. So here are the questions that TI is asking on the application. What is your area of expertise? Some people refer to this as what's your lane. My area of expertise is attitude, as in boosting engagement, and communication skills, which are 360. because I help people communicate in person, in print, and in public. That's my whole background, is communication and marketing and advertising, public speaking and training, and international trainer. So what is your area of expertise? The judges are looking for that, because then when they watch your video, they'll see, well, are you speaking in your area of expertise? And that's what they want to see you do. Next question, the type of presentations that you give. And it might be workshops, seminars, keynotes. What types of presentations do you do? Notice that it does not say virtual. Currently, you may not submit any of the 25 engagements which are virtual, and we've been saying that for years. It's going into policy with this new application period. The audience to which you typically present. Do you speak to businesses, corporations, communities? Who do you speak to? The judges are trying to get a good idea about you. So for instance, when I applied for the Accredited Speaker Program, my primary audience was that I was presenting keynotes to women's conferences. My audience, my demographic were women conferences, women in business. So then that becomes a niche when I'm talking about my area of expertise with attitude, communication skills, because then customer service skills are also within that. And women in business and business leadership, all of those fall into that. So think about what's your area of expertise, and then make sure that you're speaking on that. So here's the next page in the application, and this is probably the most challenging for most people, because if you have not been keeping track of your speaking engagements, this is a really good time to do that. At the time that I first started speaking, and I have every single one of my Toastmaster manuals, I still have every single one signed off and everything else. I started almost like an accountant's ledger, you know, with the spreadsheet, the book, and I kept track of all of this information even before I knew about the Accredited Speaker Program. That's how I know I have presented well over 3,500 presentations today. So I would keep a track of the date, the name of the client, and in a longer spreadsheet, because for paid engagements, then you want to have not only the name of the client, but their contact information, so you can follow up for repeat business, how long the presentation was, the fee received, which will be translated into US dollars for those outside of US, and then the audience size. So keep in mind that every presentation must be at least 20 minutes in length, at least 20 people in each audience. So the judges are now looking for larger audiences too. You know, have you spoken to 50 people, 500 people? My largest so far is 5,000 people. 2 keynote presentations, 4 days apart, 2 different audiences in a sports arena, me on the stage, keynote closing the entire event. So 5,000 would go over there. But when I first started, no. When I first started, it would be 20 here, 25 there, network meetings, association meetings, maybe 75 people. And I believe that the very first fee that I received, I do remember this, it was for a graduation ceremony, and the fee that I received for a 45-minute presentation was $750. Well, the college was used to paying even more than that. So what I did was I took my manual, it was special occasions, I believe, where it's the keynote speech. I had an advanced Toastmaster, someone who'd been in longer than me, come as my guest, give me an evaluation on the presentation. I received a fee. It went toward this application, toward earning my accredited speaker. So you can do more than one. So again, you know, monetary compensation, 15 of the 25 must be paid. So here is the board policy passed in August in Denver, that we may not submit presentations given to virtual audiences. So they do not count. And we're going to be holding to that, by the way, because the whole purpose of this is about platform presentation skills where the audience is seated in the same room as you. So we're abiding by that. The video presentation, part of the application as well. Start now. If you are applying for this application cycle, you ought to have been doing video recording of several of your presentations, because you want to take the best one. Now remember early on that I mentioned that you could have mentoring. You can reach out to any of us who have earned the designation on accreditedspeakers.com, and you can ask us to preview your video prior to submission. This happened a couple of years ago, matter of fact, with Maurice Domino, and he asked me to preview his video prior to his application. I said, yes, be happy to take a look at it. He would have been disqualified. He would have been disqualified immediately because the videographer, although very creative in shooting, was shooting behind Maurice over his head, capturing the audience responses instead of the facial expressions and Maurice's entire presentation. And I said, Maurice, this is great. Save it for your sizzle reel to help promote you. However, you need to submit a different video. So he did. And with that, then different videographer and be professionally wired for sound right into the house system or into the video equipment so that the judges can hear your entire presentation. And let's see. The entire presentation must be clearly defined. Same thing, opening, body, closing. You only submit one video presentation though. It must be the entire video, no editing whatsoever. Last year, a candidate had submitted a beautiful edited version. It was a 2-camera shoot. So she submitted something from, and even though the soundtrack never missed a beat, editing is disqualified. So she was disqualified, and she could have submitted only one full video, one full camera without any editing, and that's what she was able to do. But there were other reasons for disqualification, but she's going to go for it again this year. So here's a key point there. If the presentation involved any visual aids, such as slides, handouts, or props, you must include a facsimile of those. So for instance, if you're using slides, that's fine, but then submit a PDF. So save your PowerPoint or your iKeynote as a PDF, and it goes along with your application. If you have a handout, great. The judges want to put context around what it is that you're doing. In the past, one candidate was disqualified. He was using a flip chart, which was fine. You can do that. But the judges could not see what went on to the flip chart from where the camera was placed. So you want to have, again, professional video could make or break your application being passed. So let's see, it must be spoken in English. And here's the update. As I mentioned before, your video for level 1 may now be up to 60 minutes in length. It must be recorded before a live non-Toastmaster audience, which means because the judges are Toastmasters, if they recognize Toastmasters in the audience, that's grounds for immediate disqualification. Again, don't try to skip out on any of these rules. They're for good reasons. The video submission, I draw your attention to this on the application. It has the name of the client. Client means paid. So it's not just name of meeting planner, it's the name of the client. How long the presentation was, and again, now it needs to be 20 to 60 minutes. The fee received. For the video that you submit, it must be a paid engagement, and one of the 5 letters of recommendations must be from this client. Must be. So again, everything is all taken into consideration, and the audience size for that particular video. Dr. Dillip has created wonderful tips regarding video recording. And let's see, a couple of them, matter of fact, in disqualification, where number 2, they did not have a proper introduction of the speaker. Number 3, the entire presentation was not included. Number 7, that there was editing. Number 8, that there weren't any visuals. So again, follow the rules. Now, for years, we did not have the Judges Guide and Ballot, and I've been a strong advocate for this for over 20 years, that we have all of the ballots for everything else that's posted on our website. Well, we have it. As of 2 years ago, that we actually have the Judges Ballot form, and you'll be able to see that. So when the judging standards, that what the judges are looking for, and I'll show you these documents here in just a second, that the subject is not targeted for a Toastmasters audience. Both at level 1 and level 2, do not tailor it for Toastmasters. Do not mention Toastmasters in your introduction. Don't do anything Toastmaster-ish inside, we want to see what you do professionally. Whatever it is that you do that you get paid to do. So the style should be appropriate for the type of the audience for which the presentation is intended. So for instance, years ago, Karen Twitchell applied her very first time. She thought that it should be tweaked to Toastmasters. In professional speaking, we call it tailoring. So she tailored her message on caregiving, the caregiver's journey, based on her book, to Toastmaster audiences, yet she didn't pass. And she realized that there were other things that she needed to improve on. So between the first time that she applied and the second, she hired coaches to work with her. She videoed every presentation that she gave, and then she did what she does for the second time that she applied it at level 2, and she passed. And she's out of Founders District in Los Angeles, California. Here is the judge's guide and ballot. So there are very specific criteria provided to the judges at level 1 and level 2. And you can download this. It's all part of that. In August 2016, this came right off of the judges' criteria that the accreditation, and this is consideration for anyone who's judging and going for the designation, is to be undertaken with the sole purpose of determining the skill and expertise of the speaker as a professional presenter. So whether it's a keynoter, a trainer, so for instance, Edwin, the marathon winner, he is a trainer, but that's a professional presenter. Greg Wood, who is a magician, brings magic into his presentations and his keynotes, and that's what he gets paid to do. We have, let's see, two ministers. That's a professional presenter. And when they present outside of Toastmasters, outside of their congregation and other keynotes at other conferences, those qualify. So again, professional presenter, meaning you get paid to do it. TI considers a professional speaker as one who applies his or her communication skills toward the various purposes of speaking. These are the 6 different types of presentations that I was judged on in 1992 to earn it in 1993. My application form, I needed to check a box for something in each of these 6 categories. And you can see my beautiful plaque up on the wall that I earned because I did. So the purposes are informing, motivating, inspiring, entertaining, and leading seminars and discussion groups. So are you pretty well diverse in those? If not, make that part of your journey. Make sure that you do, you include those. Here is page 1 of the 2-page judge's ballot. And it might look familiar to you, similar to speech contest, except for page 2. And I've enlarged this so you could actually see it. Because of the point value, the pass or fail is 80 to 100% of the scores create a pass, both at level 1 and level 2. However, 0 to 79 is a fail. You do not want any inkling of doubt in the judge's mind that yes, you need to pass, which means you're going to be stretched beyond presentations that you've been giving. So again, this is absolutely worthy of pursuing, whether you ever apply or not. It's going to raise your bar and you're going to be more professional than ever before. You're going to think like a professional speaker. What would a professional speaker do as they're accepting the invitation, as they're following up with the client, as they're doing the thank yous, the pre-programmed questionnaire? Think like a professional speaker would. This judge's feedback form is not yet posted online. However, it is used by the judges for both level 1 and level 2. This feedback, and feedback is breakfast of champions, and we firmly believe it in Toastmasters. So this is page 1 of a 2-page judge's feedback that is then provided to the candidate, pass or fail. Overall, what went well? Overall, what could be improved? And would you hire this speaker? Please briefly explain. Number 4, would you refer this speaker? Why or why not? And number 5, what additional feedback would you like to share with the speaker? When you actually attend the international convention to watch the accredited speaker candidates be judged at level 2. It's in a large room on a large stage with the bright lights and the video, and it's simulcast around the globe as well with Toastmasters On Demand. And I encourage you to go to Toastmasters On Demand and look at the videos that you can purchase for less than $15 each year for the Accredited Speaker Program, and look and see what these speakers are doing. Those are the models that you want to be looking at and following for what's their topic, what's their style, how are they working the stage, how are they dealing with the bright lights in their face. During the judging, there is a critical 2 minutes of silence required for the audience to be absolutely hush-hush, for the judges to cast their ballots and complete these feedback forms. So 2 minutes for a credential. It's not a contest. It's not 1 minute, okay, tallied up, boom, you're done, ready for the next speaker. No, this could make or break a Toastmasters career, whether they earn this designation or not. Here are the 4 judging considerations. And these are on the handout that I provided you for this webinar in the bottom right-hand corner. The questions that the judges are pondering. Would you hire this speaker? Number 2, would you refer this speaker for a paid engagement? Number 3, would you pay admission to be in that audience? And I can tell you with each of the 6 that spoke this year, I absolutely would have paid admission to be in the room to attend a longer presentation. Absolutely. Number 4, would you consider this speaker to be a professional colleague? And that's what the accredited speakers are looking for, and those who judge this program is, are these professional colleagues? I look at it, if I were to add question number 5, would I want to share the program with this speaker, whether paid or at a Toastmasters conference? And we are looking for colleagues. We also created, as we are ambassadors for Toastmasters International, we are the professional voice of Toastmasters International, that we've created our own code of conduct and ethics. We modeled it after the National Speakers Association and then took it a few steps farther. So we created this, and this is by which we abide. And if we do not abide by this, this is also available for download, then we may be stripped of our title, and depending on the disciplinary action, we can be removed from the organization. So we are professionals, we take this seriously, and we invite you to read their code of conduct. So what can you do to practice, and where can you find mentoring and support? Again, the 2 websites, download all of the documents from Toastmasters website and into the accredited speaker area. And then I'm going to draw your attention now to the accreditedspeakers.com website. And there you will find, this is updated as of today with the newly minted accredited speakers. These are colleagues who have volunteered to provide complimentary mentoring and advice to you. And on the handout that I provided you, then here's the guidelines for this. When you email us, email accredited speaker in the subject line so that we know what it's regarding. When you reach out to us, make sure that you have all of the downloads and that you have started the application process. So we want you to have everything here before you reach out to us. Then let us know what your questions are. Bullet number 1, that we will be happy to preview your accredited speaker application prior to submission. So that way we can look, you want to make sure to fill in those pages and those questions that are being asked. Other accomplishments will also advise you to remove any Toastmaster kind of things in non-Toastmaster questions. Let us preview the video that you're going to be submitting with your application. We can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and give yourself enough time on that video that if you need to reshoot, that you have another engagement coming up and that you're prepared to make some changes on that. With with the gentleman from Bahrain, this year I believe he did 5 different videos that he received feedback. He did another one. It's not coaching, but he received feedback of, well, this and this, and he did it, and it was his, I think he said his 3rd or 4th time that he had applied and not passed at level 1. So, he really took this seriously. And he will be the first, when he passes, he will be the first accredited speaker in the Middle East. So on this list, we have Claire Crowther out of the UK. We have Greg Van Borsum out of Australia. Let's see, several Canadians there. And let's see, our very first non-North American accredited speaker was Gerald Green. He recently passed, but he was from Malaysia, because he did the opening inspiration at the Kuala Lumpur International Convention. We also give you advice on what to expect and plan for after passing level 1 before the convention judging of level 2. So utilize us, reach out to us sooner than later, but be prepared. Have all of the documents that you are very familiar, and then ask us questions that perhaps aren't in the documents so far. So here's how you can utilize the mentoring again. And let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, after passing level 1, we would be happy to discuss what your potential topics might be for level 2. So for instance, Barbara Kruzan, who did receive, she earned her accredited speaker in Kuala Lumpur, that I was advising her all the way up to the night before she gave her presentation the next morning. And we didn't have WhatsApp yet, I don't think, but she was texting me and asking me because she wasn't sure about the topic that she took with her and that she was going to be doing. And her comment was, can I change my topic? The answer is absolutely yes. You may need to update your speaker introduction that has been provided for the international director who will be introducing you. And it was close enough that she could do that without any issue. And she passed with the topic that she decided to do her other second big topic the night before. So again, we're available to discuss your potential topics. In the past, I've also mentored ladies on their attire. Based on you're going to be on a high stage and the audience is right there, you might want to watch the length of your skirt. So David Hill, I know that doesn't relate to you, but I'm just saying. After passing level 2, there's abundant opportunities. So you will be seeing, matter of fact, Greg Gazin is the man who does the Toastmasters podcast, that he's just been approved to interview all of the newly minted accredited speakers. And in the February issue of Toastmaster magazine, you'll be seeing features on the 6 who have passed this year. And then what's next and what's to expect. I do an orientation webinar. Well, I see right after those pass this year, TI asked me to have an orientation on site for the newly minted accredited speakers so that they knew what to expect next. So be happy to do that. And again, I volunteer my time to this. And having earned my accredited speaker 25 years ago, I've mentored over 100 people each year to pursue this designation. I'm not the only one. Please reach out to us, to more than one. Follow the conversations, ask questions, reach out for the mentoring. So here's what you can do for practice. Inside of your club, use the accredited speaker judge's ballot and the criteria. And at the end, bring it, photocopied in black and white or in color, and you actually have people fill it out, and you need to know, would you pass or fail? And have them in the mindset of, would they be paying to hear the presentation that you're giving? So you can still use your Pathways projects or from the legacy program, whatever that you're using, that you can combine the two inside the club arena and have your members use the judge's ballot. Modify your speaker introductions so that the Toastmaster introduces you and lets people know what you're doing. This is consideration 4, and especially those 20-minute presentations, yes. Have your members also, or it could be maybe a couple of your advanced members in the club, maybe your more seasoned Toastmasters, have them complete the accredited speaker feedback form for you, which is going to give you a higher level of feedback than maybe the Pathways project would. Again, challenge yourself, go a higher level, have other people preview your video, inside your club before it even goes to the accredited speakers. At your outside engagements, whether paid or pro bono, pro bono is free, by the way. So pro bono is going to be great practice for you. at all those outside Toastmaster engagements and inside, have every presentation videotaped. So inside the club, you know, videotape it on your cell phone, your smart device. You know, that way too, you can get feedback. You can hire coaches to work with you on that too, and get mentoring from your members. At outside engagements, have those professionally videotaped and think, this could be the one. This might be the video that I submit with the application, and have that mindset and go through every hoop. Don't have stuff in the background behind you on the stage, the extra chairs, the extra tables. Don't have any of that. Have each client for your paid engagements complete the letter of recommendation on your behalf, every single one. That's a good practice for professional speaking anyway. If you'd like more information, TI approved a presentation that I did it was the day before the International Convention in Las Vegas in 2015, that Dan Rex, our CEO, signed off on this, that we had 14 accredited speakers on our own dime come, and I put up $20,000 of my own money to book the room for Caesar's Palace with lunch, buffet, you know, all of that, and that we could have this event to capture all of the educational value of 14 accredited speakers. So TI approved that I could put it onto a thumb drive, which I did. It is kept current and up to date. It's available if you would like to purchase that. Then there's a short link right there at bit.ly/AS-USB. And it also has all the marketing materials and all the handouts from every presentation that day. I've also added to it webinars and other programs since that date, and it's completely kept up to date. So if you want more, in addition to the mentoring, and if you'd like a small investment for this USB, then you can take advantage of that. The red carpet is rolled out, and Scott, as we open up for the chat and the questions that we have from the webinar, the red carpet's there for you. Please download the information. Take a look at it. You may already be qualified to apply, and that maybe you didn't know about the program before this webinar. So now that you have insights and education and information on it, I hope that you're inspired, that you take a serious look at the Toastmasters International Accredited Speaker Program, and encourage other people in your district that you see professional caliber, or you know that your members are getting paid to speak. Turn them on to this program too, because the red carpet's there for them. And it may even keep some of our members who have been bored, or they think that they're beyond, that they don't need anything more. It may even be a great way to help them continue their membership with this fabulous and ever-growing international organization. So with that, Scott and David, thank you very much for having me for this webinar. And Scott, go ahead and let me know what questions we have.
Yes, thank you so much, Cheryl. We appreciate the very detailed and comprehensive information that you provided for us tonight on Accredited Speaker Program. We have several questions, actually. The first one I wanted to ask is from Donnie. She asked, how do they determine how many people are in your audience, and do you have to submit an attendee list for maybe some of those speaking engagements that you were talking about?
Oh, thank you. Well, let's see. And did I mess things up, or are we okay?
Nope.
Can you see me now?
Well, I can see you, and I can see a blue screen.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the blue screen is my desktop.
Okay.
And by the way, that's another tip: is never show your business. And never show your desktop. Okay. So when you videotape, the judges are going to be able to see and get a really good idea of how many people are in your audience. They're just going to do that. So, and the 20 people does not include the person who's videotaping. So you want to set up the camera where it gives that depth, and based on your engagement and your interaction, the judges are going to be able to hear if there's laughter. They can tell if it's 6 people. Yeah, don't try and fool the judges. Yeah, they know, because we do this.
Okay. David asked a question. You may have answered this already, but maybe not. Maybe it's in that USB. And he asked, is there an example of video presentations that are acceptable for submission? You may have answered that by saying they can reach out to you or any of the other accredited speakers to answer any questions. But maybe you
You
can,
could, you know what?
maybe there's
That's a
something on
great
YouTube.
question. Well, thank you. They are on YouTube because the videos need to be posted. However, they're typically posted as a private post.
Ah, okay.
When you this is a great question, because when you reach out to the especially recent, let's say in the past 3 years, of accredited speakers from the mentoring area, and you ask them if you could preview the video they submitted, they'll easily send you the link to theirs.
Okay.
And then you can see what was submitted.
Very
Let's see,
good.
I would say, gosh, let's see, any of them, I bet would be thrilled that you asked, and then you get to see what they, and here's what I would do, is to ask them to see what they submitted and then purchase the Toastmasters on demand to see what they actually did for level 2.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
Tanisha has a couple of questions here. The first one here is, how do you know if someone in your audience is a Toastmaster? And I think this has to go maybe for an evaluation. Do you have them?
For the video? Is that
Yeah,
for the video?
I
Okay,
believe
for the
so.
video, again, if something happens and the video happens to show a member of Toastmasters that one of the judges recognized,
Hmm,
they will make an assumption there are more Toastmasters in that audience.
okay. And
Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. She was maybe thinking that would they have to note it on a sign-in sheet or something. But
No, there are, again, we hold you to the code of ethics.
mhm.
And since one of our core 4 values for Toastmasters is integrity, if there isn't integrity on following the rules, there isn't integrity in the business. There isn't integrity, period. So it's on the honor system.
Okay. David asked another question. Is this program open to international speakers outside of North America? I think you said they are, because there were some
It
Australians
absolutely
in
is.
there and some others.
Well, it is. It's open to any member who is a dues-paying member anywhere in our 143 countries. And it's interesting because I'm often asked, and maybe David, this is where you're going with that, is why don't we have more international accredited speakers? We have been on a huge education, getting the word out at the Washington, D.C. convention. Rochelle Rice and I co-presented a 90-minute educational session, main stage, to help educate the world. And that's also on Toastmasters on Demand, to get more word out. Since I earned it, I've been talking about it in every presentation. I do bonus sessions for districts, often the morning after the main conference, specifically on how to become a professional speaker, how to speak and market like a pro, and how to become a Toastmasters accredited speaker. The door has always been open. So we have 4, God, I think I'm missing someone. So we have Gerald, Claire, Greg, and potentially the one from Bahrain. There are 12 or 14 in Canada. And as word gets out, that's why we're doing this webinar. I did a webinar for the district in South Africa and in the UK, and coming up, matter of fact, on Saturday for the Caribbean. So we're advocates for this. We're not paid, we're not reimbursed. We're looking for colleagues. We want to support our fellow members. And that's why, too, we volunteered to be mentors for you to help you earn this designation, because it's not just for North America. And I can tell you, let's see, the presentation must be in English. So that might be a kind of an assembling block. Maybe
Yeah.
not, though, because we have potentials from Puerto Rico that I know of, from Bahrain, from the Philippines. So, I think it's that people don't know
Hmm.
about the designation, and that they think the Toastmaster stops at DTM.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Okay. Thank you. Tanisha had another question. What kind of special awards or recognition have you noticed that people in this program have earned?
Professional designations. It may be MBA, PhD. Oh gosh, let's see. Awards. For
And
instance, I had won Chamber of Commerce awards. So outside of Toastmasters.
do they have
Is
to
that
be,
correct?
yeah, do they have to be related to speaking or presenting?
It helps.
Okay.
It does help. It's not limited to. And because it's a fill in the form on the PDF, you can fill it in. You can just keep adding more and more in, or the font gets smaller. You can also add supplemental PDFs to your application. So you can submit additional things.
Mhm. I noticed that
You're
you
not
mentioned,
limited.
no, that's okay. I noticed that you mentioned in one of the slides, it has something to do with speaking and presenting. I was trying to understand, is there a difference between being a professional presenter and a professional speaker?
In my
Or
mind,
is it the
no.
same? Okay.
In my mind, no. Because my example is, say, for instance, that we do have professional presenters who are lecturers, ministers, musicians. Gosh, we even have an auctioneer. You know, there. Yet it has to do with public speaking of high caliber communication,
Okay.
where it's a subject matter expert that you are paid to present. So speaking, training, keynoting. Matter of fact, you can even list some of your public workshops. So if you charge for your own workshops, that for the fee you can post, and there's nothing in the policy that says otherwise, that whatever the admission is that you collected for your own public workshop, you can list as a fee for that one engagement of the 25.
Okay. I think we just have three more questions. One of them is just more of a validation here, but the last one, or I'm sorry, one of the first, sorry, let me start over here. Tanisha had another question. Do you give referrals on videographers or of videographers since it's so
I bet
critical?
with it, Well, I bet within District 40 that you have videographers, because too, based on last year, we needed to video record our speech contestant to be submitted.
Okay.
Then you have videographers in the district. I would use someone who's local.
Okay.
However, let's say, Tanisha, that you are speaking in another part of the country or another part of Ohio or next door at another state. And, you know, and that your local videographer doesn't want to travel or whatever, then find someone, and it could be that if you're going into another district, that you reach out to that district leadership and you say, hey, I'm coming to town to do a professional engagement, or reach out to the meeting planner for that engagement. So for instance, when I'm speaking in, let's say in the Bahamas, then I would say, I'm at your event, you are welcome to videotape this presentation. Do you have a videographer that you can bring in? And then they hire them, but I get, and I have a strong caveat on that, especially if I'm submitting it for this accreditation, is that I need to be wired for sound, that there's two microphones, one that goes into directly feed into the video system and one that goes into the house system so that the audience can hear, and that I receive the raw, unedited footage,
Hmm.
period. And within, you know, I'll say 7 days.
Okay.
So they need to get with it, or they need to pay. And for me, it's the same price as what that keynote would cost, is what they have to pay for the video.
Interesting how to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So have a meeting planner
Hmm.
make suggestions, and sometimes you may need to pay the videographer yourself, and it might be, you know, or maybe you get a student at one of the local universities in one of the departments. Maybe it's video communication or
Hmm.
theater, you know, the theatrical arts or something, and you let them know that, hey, this is really important, this is what you're looking for, that you need to be in the shot the entire time, no kidding. And it could be that where you're going to be doing audience interaction, that they pull back,
Hmm.
but at all times that you are in the screen.
Okay.
Not that you're walking off the screen before. You want somebody professional who's
Right.
paying attention and not sleeping at the job.
The second to last question, this one has to do with just the overall the highly selective requirements that are in the AS program here. Do you recommend that prospective speakers explore other speaking organizations such as the NSA, which you're a part of, to hone your skills before you consider applying to the accredited speaker program?
That's another great question. The National Speakers Association, of which I've been a member since 1996, and matter of fact, on my application today, it would say Member of the Year, National Speakers Association San Diego chapter. Member of the Year, National Speakers Association, or Los Angeles area chapter, you know, so it would say, and it would say Golden Microphone Award winner. So though it would say that on my application today. The National Speakers Association is part of the Global Speakers Federation, of which there are 15 or 16 global speaking organizations around the globe. NSA is an association of professionals who speak. It is not a place to learn better speaking skills. Toastmasters is. NSA is a place to learn about the business of speaking. The business.
The business.
How did I rattle off, boy, if they don't have the video to me in 7 days, that they owe me again the same fee as what a keynote was. Ta-da! You know, so tips like that. However, I did hang out at NSA for 4 years before I joined, because I thought, wow, if I'm serious about this business, then I need to learn about the business. And I was actually brought into NSA by a fellow Toastmaster who was incoming president, and she asked me to come in as her newsletter editor because my background is in graphics, and I received, you know, 4 international awards from Toastmasters on newsletter design. So, you know, so there was my Toastmaster mentor that brought me into NSA.
Okay.
I would say yes, attend meetings of NSA as a guest. There is a very high level entry fee, again, for our dues to actually belong, but you can attend as a guest and watch other people speak. You could also watch TEDx speakers when they're standing on the dot. Boy, you know, it's incredible style. We learn from everyone. We do. We learn from everyone. If this is your aspiration, you need to be looking at speakers who get paid to do what they do, and find your own style, find your own topic, find your own lane, believe in yourself, and really pursue this designation. And any of us will share with you that the journey is absolutely worth it.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. The last, this is more of a point than that I was trying to get to earlier, but the handouts that you used, are all of those from that website link on Toastmasters.org, or did you put some others in there?
Nope. You're right. All of these that I held up are the PDF downloads.
Okay. And again, those PDF downloads should be on the link to the site, and I think we put that in the chat box there. Donnie put it in the chat box.
And it's also at the very top of the handout for this webinar here too.
Okay. Yes. I will make sure that people have that specific handout that you just showed.
Okay.
That thing that you just showed, that paper that you just showed, is not on the Toastmasters website. Is that correct?
This is not.
Okay.
This is what I created though in the branding. This is that image on the box on the side. Okay. And then I made notes of what the policy changes are there, as well as information about mentoring, because that's not on TI's website.
Okay.
And then the 4 bottom line questions, which are also not. So it's a valuable handout.
Thank you for showing that. Yeah, we'll make sure that everybody gets that, and especially those people who weren't able to come tonight. Well, that's all the questions. Thanks for answering those and going over a little bit. And you know what? I don't think anybody dropped, even in the 13 minutes that we went over. So I think it was worth the time to go over that. Thank you very much,
That's
Cheryl.
good.
David,
you're very welcome.
Close out?
Well, yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Scott. Thanks for doing a great job. I appreciate all the members who came. I hope that you took something away from this fantastic presentation. Cheryl, I can't thank you enough. I'm so glad that I met you at the convention, and I'm so glad that you were willing to share your knowledge. I'm a firm believer that we have some dynamic speakers here in hiding, and I'm hoping that this will push them to the forefront and get them motivated and excited about taking their speaking to the next level.
Wonderful. Challenge them. And David, you can walk right up to them and say, I see something in you.
Exactly.
Have you considered the Accredited Speaker Program? Because too, they may not yet have heard about it. So
that's true. That's true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I hope if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself, Scott, Cheryl. You know, it's great. I will tell you that Cheryl is going to grace my club professional speakers with a little more in-depth about the accredited speaker. More information to follow for that, for any of those people who may want to attend that also.
What's our date on that, David? What's our date?
December 2nd.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful week. Thank you again, Cheryl. I truly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking, David.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. We'll disconnect at this time. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Did you get that little devotion book that I sent? I did.
So, yeah.